Okay, my friends, let's resume. Wow, Anna, the energy in the room is palpable.
Tremendous. Look at that. Well, we hope you've all exchanged wonderful tips and learnings so far. Also, hope you had an excellent coffee break. For those of you that didn't get time, our partners who work with the BIPC, our Ask an Expert sessions will be running all day, as will the BIPC tours. So if you didn't manage to get a chat with one of those guys or sign up for that, please do that. Big thank you for Rich from Mintel. That was tremendous. I will just say, we had a brilliant question coming online just at the end of Rich's session, which was about top key data sets or things that he would recommend people kept an eye on when running their business from Mintel. And I spoke to him in the break. He would just like to direct you towards on the site, there is a customer confidence tracker set of data. So if you just go into the data tab, you can see basically really topical data. And every month or so, they have a question about current affairs. So you can basically get your finger on the pulse of what your customers are doing and what the general vibe in the nation is. So yeah, head there, head to the Mintel's website. You can get it here for free, of course, at the British Library and in many of our BIPC National Network centres. So a nice little bonus there. Please do keep the questions coming in online, especially for this session. I think it's going to be a really, really great one. We're streaming to many centres, so please, it will all come through to my iPad. And when we come to questions at the end, I will make sure that our lovely panel gets asked those questions. This one's very close to my heart. This is a panel of graduates from our Get Ready for Business Growth programme. And this is a special Start-up Stars, there we are, edition of Start-up Stars. What I wish I'd known when I started. So without further ado, I will hand over to Rashid.
Thank you very much, Anna. How are you all doing? Good? Yeah? How are the pastries? Yeah, sorry, I have this thing about pastries today, isn't it? It's that food, that comfort thing. Yeah, good. Can you just raise your hands, those of you who have had some really good conversations with other people who are on this startup journey? Oh, great. And can you keep your hands up if you're going to exchange details or do a follow-up after today? And that's really, really fantastic. Welcome, and yeah, thank you so much, Anna. Anna is very, very modest. Anna and the wonderful team who may well be here, Julie and Simon, are part of the Get Ready for Business Growth team. So today's all about starting up. One of our hopes is that you're not just going to start, but that you're going to grow and you're going to be able to sustain that business. And that can be challenging. The wonderful Isabel here will tell us the stats that there are about the number of businesses that don't succeed, and there's some stats about how more likely you are to succeed with the support of the Business and Intellectual Property Centre in terms of just that research, support, advice, guidance, one-to-one workshops, and all of the things that are available. This session is where we hear from a wonderful esteemed team. Can you see them? They look just like I'm liking today because when I do these, sometimes people don't look like their actual photographs. But this wonderful array of entrepreneurs, they look just like their photographs. Actually, mine's not up there. I just wanted to check, do I look like my photograph? So yeah, hopefully I do. But this is where we get to hear from a esteemed panel of entrepreneurs who started their business and they've grown their business. What they all have in common is that they've all been through their Get Ready for Business Growth program. The Get Ready for Business Growth program is a free online program run by the British Library's Business and IP Centre network, which is there to support businesses that are turning over 100K or more to help them on that growth journey. And what really excites me about today is that they're coming back to share their story about starting up. So we run Startup Stars once every quarter to share those kind of learnings about what it's like on this journey of starting and running your own business. So I'm going to be grilling them, and then you're going to get a chance to grill them between now and 12:50. So we're going to shortly hear from them all one by one. They're all going to have 5 minutes on their specialist topic, which of course is them and their business. They're all going to have 5 minutes to share a little bit about them and what they do and how they first got started up. And then I'm going to broaden that into a little bit of a conversation about all of the ups and downs. And as it says on the tin, you know, the stuff I wish I'd known, what I wish I'd known when I started my business. We're going to be having a conversation about that. And then we're going to open up the floor to your questions. So not just the floor, but also online. So those of you online, can we make some noise again for those of us who are online? Let's make some noise for the online people. We're going to have those questions as well. So that's how it's worked. When we do get to the Q&A bit, this is the bit where you're going to get an opportunity also to shine. Tell us your name, tell us the business that you run, and then succinctly, what's your question? It might be you've got a question for all of our esteemed panel, or it might be for one of them. And folks, are you up for any questions today related to business and startup? Will's kind of hedging his bets. Yeah, it's like, yeah, absolutely. So shall we meet them? Are you ready to meet them? Okay, let's give them first of all a collective round of applause, then we'll do a quick round of introductions for them. First of all, I'm going to call them out and you can give them a wonderful round of applause. Right next to me immediately, we have Ronnie from RoniB's Kitchen. Let's give that a round of applause. I think you can do better than that. We've got Rodrigo, who's founder of Art Cargo. A nice warm round of applause. And we have Will from Layrd Design. A big round of applause. Everybody, you're really, really warm welcome here. So, folks, you know how it works. And, Ronnie, you're nearest to me. So, Ronnie, you're going to have 5 minutes, first of all, just to tell us a little about what is it that you do. Names and the clues in the name, really. But tell us a little bit about how it is that what you did and how it is you actually got started. And I'm really, really curious to know from when you first had that idea, just to set the scene. And then we will have plenty of time once everyone else has had their 5 minutes to go very further. So you're nicely mic'd up. So, Ronnie, one more time, round of applause. Ronnie, over to you. Your 5 minutes of fame.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ronnie. I'm the founder of RoniB's Kitchen. So it is it's based on food. It's a food product. It's a brand that celebrates my heritage of being Filipino. So these are Filipino flavored sauces. The idea started, it was back, I think it was like 2010, around about that time. We were looking around, like, we like eating out, and we were trying to find Filipino restaurants, and there were not that many. So we thought, like, well, this cuisine, our cuisine, should be in the map, in the culinary map of the UK or in London. So I started in hot food. We were doing, what do you call that, like street food and things like that. So I started in markets and all that. I was still working full time. It was just like, a side hustle. Then 2016, I got invited to Kirstie Alsop's Handmade Christmas. So December 2016, there was a cook-off on TV. That was my first foray in TV. And we did a cook-off. We were doing supper clubs, and I won that cook-off.
I think that's worthy of a round of applause.
So I thought to myself, well, there is a place for my cuisine. Because otherwise I wouldn't have won, right? So I said to myself, right, what would be the fastest way for me to be able to share the flavors of the Philippines? So I said, why don't I put it in a jar in a bottle and tell them how to use it themselves, the customers. So I started research on how to do food manufacturing and this and this. So anyway, we started from our little kitchen at home, a 2-liter pot. And my husband just retired from the Met. So, and I was going to work, so he's the one cooking it. My recipe, he was cooking it and putting it all in the jars and the bottles. And in the weekends, we would go to markets and we would sell that. And I remember the very first one doing that is like the biggest hurdle I had was always, I don't know Filipino food. I'm traditional. It was hard, like just to share it. Anyway, come 2019, I decided to leave my job and do it full time. I said, I can't serve 2 masters. I have to choose. So I chose to do the business. So 2019, September, you know what happened in 2020, right? COVID. So I'm like, okay, how are we going to do this? So everything just went online. For us, in food, when everybody started to cook at home, it became almost like a golden opportunity to impart the flavors because people were getting tired with the same things. And so it kind of helped that I was online. And I think at that time, my website wasn't so good yet. I went and sold in Amazon. I made a lot of mistakes in Amazon. I thought I was making money. I didn't. I priced it wrong. So that's one of the things what I wish I'd known. But yeah, so from then on we found a manufacturing partner and said, right, we got to grow this. So we went and found ourselves a manufacturing partner. And we just went right all out, markets, festivals, and all that. And that's how we were just trying to organically grow the business, because our biggest hurdle was the recognition of the cuisine. So, yeah, for me that was what I was facing. And then obviously last year we got into all this next big thing. That's where I launched the banana ketchup. Did anybody see that show? So, yeah, so we did that, and I ummed and ummed about doing all this next big thing, but it's marketing that exposure that I cannot pay for. So I said yes. So you kind of like try to get the best of what opportunities are being presented to you. So I did that, and you know, when we were doing 10,000 a year units, Aldi asked us for 100,000 plus. And we just said, okay, we can do that, you know. So basically just say yes and solve the rest later.
Wow. I mean, a round of applause, first of all. I mean, Ronnie, we'll come back to hear much more, because I like the fact that you've kind of put on the table some of these key landmark moments from, you know, where is it that I can find Filipino food, to spotting that opportunity, starting small in your own kitchen, street festivals, street markets, etc. A TV opportunity that comes around, and then that moment where I love that powerful thing about can't serve two masters, and giving up the job. Then COVID hit, but you seeing it as an opportunity. Pricing, all sorts of things around there, what you wish you had known, some of those first lessons. So I'm really looking forward to, as we dive deeper into this conversation, more about that startup journey and all the lessons for people here in the room. So again, a round of applause for Ronnie. Right next door to you is Rodrigo. So Rodrigo, Art Cargo. Tell us a little bit, you know, your 5 minutes just to set out the stall. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and again, how it is that you got started.
Thank you. Can you hear me all right? Excellent. So my name is Rodrigo, and yeah, the company is called Art Cargo. Pretty much does what it says on the label. We do fine art logistics. So it's pretty much the unglamorous side of art. We take care of artworks during transit, handling from warehouses, and if you can imagine, pretty much the UK, all of the movement of art has kind of, as a rule, to come through London. So we do a lot of work with the Midlands, with the North, and with Scotland, bringing art and either sending it by road into the EU, sometimes by ship, but not a lot, and a lot through the main cargo terminal in Heathrow. So it seems quite an industrious business. But I, first of all, wanted to say how grateful and how proud I am to say that my business is born and grown at the BIPC. I started, what I didn't really have a clue. And I am also glad to say that I found the BIPC by complete coincidence. I was here at the British Library, which is where you come where you don't really have a clue what to do and just sit down and kind of think about things and use the Wi-Fi. And I had quite a lot of experience actually doing it. Like many of you, I guess. We are experts at what we do, but we are not incredible. We're not experts in running businesses. We are experts in, I don't know, making food or handling paintings. And you take a break, as you do, and I grabbed the coffee and started walking around, just reading posters and exhibition things that they had in the corridors. And I was like, BIPC, what is this? Absolutely out of the blue, someone was like, hi. And I was like, what do you do here? And it's like, well, we help people with this and that. And the other was like, oh, well, I've got a small idea, but it's just a small idea. No clue about anything, but I want to give it a shot. And yeah, pretty much what we want to do today. You walk in with an idea and walk out with a purpose. And of course, it's not easy to begin. I literally had just a few £100 and an idea. And now I've just graduated from the growth program. Also very proud to say that the trampoline at the second stage has been also transformational. So it's amazing. So great. So the main question, what I wish I'd known, I think is, I always say this, people like to work with people that they like. That's first of all. You think that your business is, I don't know, in a jar or handling a painting, but your business, especially for us that do small businesses, is one. And people want to work with you because of the service that you provide or because of the product that you do. That, as we just heard in the previous talk, really fulfills their needs, and there's a story. But I think at the beginning, especially at the beginning, people want to work with you because you're you, and because you are there for them. The majority of the initial clients that I had was like, well, I phone other companies and I get press 1 for sales, press 2 for this, press 3 for... I want to call someone that I know. I want to call someone that I know that I can talk to. And I guess for the first few years, my phone was my best asset. People wanted to kind of ask me a question. People wanted to text me, or I don't know, 10 at night on a Wednesday, and few things that I realized, and very quickly I realized, and maybe hopefully this is something to take away today for you, that I wasn't selling my service. My service was the sort of ancillary thing. I was selling trust. I was selling the idea that you can call someone that you know and that you trust. And that's been the kind of soul journey of nurturing that trust with the clients and getting those clients to then tell all the people.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, thank you so much for that, Rodrigo. Round of applause. Really interesting, really interesting. There are a number of things for me there. First of all, again, like Ronnie, there was that element of something that you're passionate about. In your case, that you were in that business of transporting art. But then I like the bit of happenstance, chance. You were here, you were in the British Library, and then you discovered the Business and IP Centre. Again, it's a bit like the ministers that the Baroness shared earlier on. People just think libraries are just about books, and there's just so much more so than that. So there's that moment of chance. And then accepting what you didn't know, that there was that learning journey. There seemed to be an openness about that. But then this very powerful point that you talk about, that I love that the way that you word it, that you weren't even really selling the service. First of all, is that thing about that trust, helping people and so on. And then, of course, the service comes along with it. But recognizing that point of differentiation again, where it's press 1 for this and that. No, people could call you at whatever particular time. Really, really interesting about those lessons that you've learned. And I could see also Ronnie was nodding early on about those things that we wish we'd known. And again, we're going to be exploring that further. Let's head right next to to Will. And with your business name, Will, I'm just always thinking about the things next door, which are lanyards, which you've got today. But Will, introduce yourself and your business and tell us about how you got started in your 5 minutes of fame to kick us off with.
Yeah, so I'm Will Mays, founder and CEO of Layrd Design, not lanyard design, not lard, not lead. The name comes from like a room when you design a space. So we're interior designers. So when you design a space, it's about layering the room. It's not about the finer finishes. It's about the layout, the lighting, the smell, what you touch, what you feel, how it kind of interacts with people. I took the A's out because it looks a bit more trendy, if I'm honest, and it's worked quite well. So yeah, we're a design agency based in Cambridge. We do commercial interiors only, not interested in people's domestics over their bedrooms or their kitchen. It's just commercial clients. And our sectors are gym, workplace, and then we do a lot of stadiums as well across the UK. We offer interiors, we also offer kind of fit out and the full kind of turnkey solution as well. So I kind of got into buildings and creating spaces when I was kind of 11 or 12. My dad was a builder. I was on building sites every summer, mixing cement, 8 hours mixing cement, but seeing something at the end of it, being creative was what I wanted to see. I wasn't interested in being a builder, but I wanted to have an influence on that from a design point of view. So studied architecture at university, worked for some big architecture firms in London, realised I'd be doing door schedules and ironmongery schedules for the rest of my life if I worked there, and I wanted a bigger part of the company. So moved back up to Cambridgeshire, where I was kind of born and grew up. Joined a kind of family-run interior design studio and was kind of thrown in the deep end design in restaurants, hospitality spaces, and kind of liaising with builders as a kind of 24-year-old, 25-year-old. Builders on site aren't always the easiest to talk to, but you learn a lot about kind of people skills and how you really kind of... Coffee is a powerful thing on a building site. If you bring coffee to a building site, they seem to work a bit harder and a bit longer every day. So I learned that very young, how to do that. But my kind of company took me to one side and said, we want you to work here forever, but we can't offer you much more money, which isn't a great kind of motivator either for me. So there was a gap in the market. There were some really big companies that were turning over 30, 40 million, and then there was us. So I gave myself 3 months to create a company that could fill that gap, be more kind of design-driven, design-led. My wife was working away. She works on film sets, so I kind of had as many hours as I wanted in the day to work on this. So yeah, quit my job, 3 months. At the end of 3 months, if I don't have a client, I'll just get another job somewhere else. That was my kind of mentality. Built the company, found an accountant, got it all set up, and then 2 months in, got a client, and it was a project that would run for another year. So I had a client that would kind of sustain me for a year. We then hit kind of lockdown, COVID, which was actually great for a company of my size. The overheads were nothing. I wasn't expecting to make much money. The client was engaged and locked in, so kind of rode lockdown quite easily by myself. Had a daughter in that time, which was a different thing.
Different project.
Yeah, very different project, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the company grew, so we took some risks along the way, some things, so in terms of getting into the stadia sector, Cambridge United approached us. We got these 2 rooms we want you to do for hospitality. We've got no money. Can you design and fund it? The real answer was no, but the answer we gave was yes, we can. You kind of learn very quickly, payment, we can do this now. We don't have to pay anyone for 30 or 60 days. So in 60 days, can we afford it? Yeah, if we push ourselves, we probably can. So we did that project, and then emailed every football club in England, then we've worked with Ipswich Town a week since then for the last 4 years on multiple schemes. And then it's kind of telling that sector alone is kind of worth 5 or 10 million a year to us now. But without doing that risk, we would never got into it. And as a company, we're now kind of 18 strong, leading the way in the gym and the stadia sectors and really kind of pushing workplace projects. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Well, really interesting, again, to just hear all of those things that you're talking about. It's interesting, the background, Dad being a builder, watching, learning, but having that sense of something that you're passionate from the design from a very, very young age. And again, spotting the gap in the market of what wasn't being done. I love that moment where you talked about where you decided that you were going to give yourself 3 months. There was that opportunity, job-wise, give yourself 3 months, see if you could get things up and running. recognizing that one project, if you've got a project, it can see you through for a period of time. Again, really interesting that COVID hitting, not having that many high overheads, whereas other bigger businesses might, being able to see your way through that. And then, again, like Ronnie, I think, said, saying yes to an opportunity that comes along, like, how are we going to do this? Like, what you saying, how, was it 100,000 units? I think that's just worth a round of applause. Again, my brain... And in the same way, then you were talking about, you know, the getting that first football gig and the value of the sector, taking on 18 staff now. You talked about just so many things, you know, being a dad during that time, you know, piece of cake during all of that period of time, and so many other things in terms of the sectors that you're now in, and the businesses clearly, from the numbers you're talking about, doing really, really well. Let's then, let's give them all a round of applause, first of all. So, you know, I've been thinking quite a lot about this session today because I can remember being sat somewhere along there many years ago, I think it's about 18 years ago, and a contact of mine said to me, I should go to this event at the British Library. I'd never been before, and I remember asking an intelligent, challenging question. It was just at the time that the Business and IP Centre was being developed, and then I'm sat here a little bit later, but I was really intrigued about often the gap that can be seemingly between being here and being there. One of the things that I really like about the fact that you're all sat here is that it's been quite recent, that journey of that startup. Could you just tell us all again, when did your business start, first of all? Ronnie, the year you started?
So I will consider the year when I went full-time.
Okay, yeah.
It's 2019.
2019, but when did you first dipping your toe in the water, beginning to do some stuff?
So that was like 2014.
From 2014. And how about for yourself, Rodrigo?
2018.
2018, well, recently. And Will, for yourself?
2019.
2019, so it's quite recent, isn't it? Let's start then, because this thing about starting and running your own business, being your own boss, can be daunting. And sometimes, where do you start? I can see, Ronnie, you're giggling. What was the first thing that you did? So once you first of all had this idea, you know, you'd looked around, okay, there doesn't seem to be any Filipino food, and you're interested, but what did you do as the very first, how did you start, how did you begin? What were the first couple of things that you did?
So for me, because it was food, I had to research how to manufacture the food product. What are the steps? So the safety, the licenses, you know, all of that, the procedure, and obviously because we're gonna. And then what type of containers I would use? Do I go the plastic or the poly, whatever material, glass or this? What kind of look do I want it to be? How do I want my food product to show to consumers? So it was a lot of kind of research, both in how do I want it to look, what message do I want it to convey, how will I make this safe for people to consume. And I went around and I tried to find people in the industry to ask that question. So, you know, how do I want to release a food brand or create a new line of food products. How do I go about it? I ask a lot of people.
Other people who are in who are running businesses or producing food or specialist experts?
They're supposed to. So the very first one I called was supposed to be a guy who's an expert in food, in distributing, food, small business, kind of food artisan products. But I remember the first thing he said to me, you may think that your product is going to taste good, but if people don't know it, then it's not going to work. Not very encouraging, wasn't it? So but I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to prove you wrong in my head. So okay, go to the next person, the next industry expert. I just ended up doing a lot of research. Because my background is really science and research. Oh. So I kind of used that background of mine, and I researched all the step-by-step on how we will do it at home, how to sterilize and do this and do that. And we just said, right,
Wonderful.
doing a 3-liter pot every time not gonna work. So we had to go. That's when I had to go, like, let's find somebody to do this better.
Right. So that research, because there's so many things, logistics, food hygiene, practicalities, look and feel, all of those
All of
kind of
that.
things, and learning just about how to go about it.
Which I knew nothing about.
Right, right.
Zero.
Right. But the fact of, there's a message here that about, using what you do know before, which was the research as a starting point. Rodrigo, tell us again, in your case, so you had been, I assume from what you were sharing before, that you had been in the business of art and moving art around. But once you decided, actually, can you tell us what was the spark where you decided, I want to step away from this, I want to be my own boss? And then again, what were the very, very, very first things that you did? Because it can be just so daunting. Where do I begin?
Yeah. And this was the world pre-COVID. I think COVID really changed everything. I used to work for museums and galleries, so I was on the other side. And I always I think that gave me an insight because I'd been my own client. And I was always a bit hesitant to release works of art to people I didn't know, or big companies that I thought don't really care about what they're doing. They're just huge companies, or people that ended up sending prints of paintings on the post or on the because they couldn't afford it. I think it was kind of an obscure industry that I had like an insight into. But mainly, the main thing was that I got, there's always down to like a single opportunity.
Always.
When you say yes, and then you go, oh, why did I say yes? But it was a single opportunity. Someone that knew someone called and said, can you help me with this? And
at this time, what was going on? Were you employed at this moment, and you decided to step away and do this separate? How did you?
I wasn't.
You wasn't at that point. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
I was kind of figuring out what to do.
Okay.
So said yes without really knowing what to do. But and this is, I think, a really interesting thing that we probably share is your resources against the sort of requests, or the. Sometimes you think that you have to build all the resources before you go out and take requests, but sometimes the requests come your way and you don't really have the resources, and you then
have much time to figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Are you going to say no, and then maybe the opportunity goes away, or are you going to be creative, use whatever is contacts, talk to people, try and I think I'm glad to have said yes, and maybe this is also important, just to explain to that person, client, I'm starting, I've got these resources, but I really think I can help you. That is much better than saying, yes, of course we can do it, or you level with them, and you take them on your journey as well.
Wonderful. Do get the questions ready, because we're not far away from the questions, and everyone online also get ready with your questions. Well, for you, tell us a little bit about that thing about starting, because it was interesting that you were very young when you kind of this creativity, and you'd seen your dad in business and so on. What was the moment where you decided, this, I'm gonna go it on my own? And what were the very, very first things that you did practically from knowing that you wanting to do the commercial design? What were the very first steps you took?
So the thing that made me do it was, where I was at, it was a family-led company, and it wasn't the most efficient or the most kind of process-driven. They looked like they were kind of making it by week. So
Did you put that to your family?
No. So I thought, if they can do it, then I'm pretty sure I can give this a go and probably do better than what they were doing at the time. So that's kind of gave me if they can do it, I might as well give it a go. I think it was probably my wife that gave me the 3-month deadline rather than myself, to be fair.
And how old were you at that moment?
I was 27 when I started.
Okay, yeah.
But the first things I did was, there's lots of people in kind of design world that go freelance rather than go straight to business. And I didn't want to be seen as a freelancer. I wanted to grow a company. So even though I had no projects, I kind of set up the company, registered as a VAT registered company straight away. So from the outside, we'd always look bigger than what we were. And we were working on kind of projects where people thought there was a team of 10 or 15 of us. There was just me in a spare room, turning out quite big kind of schemes, but no one knew what was going on. So the website, the About Us bit on the website was quite light. If you dig down, you'd find it, but it wasn't. It was kind of, nothing was being hidden. We were just kind of putting on a facade to show that we were a bigger company.
So that thing about the registering the company, that intent, that statement of intent, and then building from there. Absolutely. Really interesting. And again, remember that with the QR code, this has got all sorts of information about those things about, am I going to be a sole trader? Am I going to be a limited company? Am I going to be a community interest company? Lots of the often dull but very important things about how do I actually begin. So that's really well worth a read.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just that one very small first step. I just remembered when I went to the BIPC, get a professional email. That's the first thing I did.
Right. Right.
Don't reply from your personal email. Just go get like a little, get your domain, and even if you don't have a website or it's a one-page website, email back, because with technology, this thing that you were saying is really important. Okay. People all over the country or internationally don't know if you're working from your spare room or from a huge office, but they do know, especially now that everyone's so on with scans and everything. They do read your email.
Great advice. So let's, before we do open it up, let's dive into this topic here, the things I wish I knew. And where'd you start the list? In a way. What can you give us, Ronnie, one or two things that you wish that you knew? I'm going to allow you to have two if you want. I mean, three if absolutely. But what are the first things that come to your mind that you wish now, reflecting back a number of years later, that you wish you knew that perhaps would have helped you save pain, money, who knows, or embarrassment or what have you? Ronnie, give us one to two things, to three things that you wish you knew.
I guess for me, it's all around the funding bit. To open a food retail business or product, it constantly needs to be fed with funding. If you want to grow the business, you gotta feed, and I call it the beast. You gotta keep feeding that, because if you think about it, in food, it has a cap of the margin that you can make. Otherwise, you're going to price yourself out of the market. And if you want to grow, you have to do it. It's a volume game, right? And for each distribution channel that you enter to, the game is different. So if you want to grow, and that's how I wish I knew that, because one, I didn't know, that you need to always look for funding. Like, I didn't even know there was pre-seed, seed 1, series 1, series 2. Didn't know that. Like
different stages of funding,
Yeah, because in retail, in food, in consumer goods, you have to keep feeding that.
A really good point. And again, just to shout out, you may have seen some of their partners and so on out there. There is a whole range of on the British Library Business IP Centre website. There's a whole range of events and a number around funding. There's a really couple of brilliant ones run by Paul Grant around funding and understanding the whole funding options around that, and business finance and so many other topics there. So this thing about really understanding that finance side of the funding side of the business. Rodrigo, same question to you. What are the one or couple of things that you wish that you knew then, but now as you're like, that would have helped me?
Well, I think I've said one or two things before, but I think if I could travel back in time and get myself just here around the corner in the library, I would tell myself, look, you're not alone. That's the first thing. You might feel alone. I mean, now that I'm sitting here in front of loads of people that were where I was, you can just feel it, you know, you can feel it in the room. And now I think small and medium-sized businesses, especially after the pandemic, it's so, I don't know, it's become a thing to work at home. It's become a thing to be much more of a sort of entrepreneur. But when I started, I think that would have been the thing that I tell myself, you're not alone. And if you think you are, that's the second thing. You're not going to be excellent at everything in your business. It takes so many different specialties. You're not going to be excellent at everything. Even, I dare to say, in my case, you're not going to be good at everything. There are some things that were like, that's not your thing, but know your thing, and get help. Get a mate, get a partner, get a, it's like, I don't know, putting on a band. You can't, you need a good bass player, you need a good drummer. Like, go out and talk to people. And exactly the same as with your customers, you get partners, you get people going on your journey, and it becomes a shared vision. I think that's my second thing.
And I like that bit linked to that you talked about, that trust and that likability, that where people will want to help you and support you. I see so many people as a coach all the time struggling and sharing, telling people. People will often back you. They'll want to see you do really, really well, especially if you're likable and personable, and they can see you've got talent. Yeah, well, for you, what were some of the things that you wish you'd known earlier? And it was interesting with this because you again had observed some of the things that you seen that could have been done better from being within a family business. But what were the things that once you got on this journey of being your own boss, running your own business, that you wish you had known?
Well, building on your point about people, I think running a business is extremely lonely at times, especially when you're a sole founder. It's all on you. Wherever you have a team, the responsibility is your responsibility to keep the lights on, keep it all running. We're a project-based business, so a project ends. I've got 14 designers. They all want a new project quite quickly. So we need kind of projects for the next 12 months or so lined up, ready to go. And if they're not there, it's on you to kind of take the flak for that. Again, with hiring people and kind of getting rid of people, which we had to do, it's quite a hard part of the job. It's not nice to kind of tell people they're leaving the company for whatever reason. So again, if it's just you doing that, it can be very lonely, definitely. But my biggest thing is probably about, that's an obvious thing, but about cash and cash flow. So we do lots of design and build projects, which are kind of quite large sums. You can get so stuck into doing the project that you haven't sent the invoice, which is 30 days away, and then you get an invoice and they want it paid. You're like, oh, there's a kind of £100,000 kind of deficit here, and there's a 2-week overlap, so how do I fill that void? You learn that very quickly. You do it once, you don't do it again.
It's that classic one, isn't it? What they say, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and then cash flow is reality. So learning that about in your business and how long it's going to be before you get paid.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Really
so we've
interesting.
introduced kind of deposits on every project now. So if someone's doing a £1 million refit on a stadium, it's 40% deposit on order, and it's paid on 7 days, and people pay it. Some football clubs pay it within half an hour. So it's gone from 30 days to 30 minutes, which is, good progress. And then you've got that cash, and you don't have to pay anyone then for 30 days at least. So you've got kind of 30-day window with some cash, and you can turn that cash into other things. Even if you dip it into marketing or another opportunity to make more money from that cash, then cash is definitely, use it while you've got it.
Really, really, really powerful. We're about to open up questions because I want to allow plenty of time for questions, because questions is how we learn. Quick tip from me: when you're out, when you're anywhere, ask questions. Questions are priceless. Questions is how you learn. As we've learned here, business, I always say, is a multidisciplinary sport, and nobody's an expert on everything. That's why you're going to be speaking to lots of different people. But asking questions gives you visibility, and it helps you learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Never leave a room if you've got a question in your head without having asked that question. Let me just ask one last thing before we do go to the questions then. And I want to ask a little bit about, again, linking it back to what Rodrigo, you said, here we are in the British Library in the Business IP Centre. Do take advantage of the tools, by the way, at lunchtime. Folks, why was it that you then, once you were beginning to make traction, the business is beginning to, to do well, the point of then getting extra support in terms of the Getting Ready for Business Growth program. I'm going to be bold and brave and not start this way round this time. I'm going to go to the middle. I guess in your case, you happened upon the British Library, but when the Get Ready for Business Growth program, why did you apply for that? And where were you? What was going on for the business at that point, Rodrigo?
So I started very shyly. We started as a partnership. And we ran successfully for the first 5 years. And then I thought, okay, we've got a good roster of clients. Our finances are stable, and I proved this a sustainable business proposition. We get to the now what moment. Are we going to kind of keep on going, flatline it, or are we going to take the second bold decision, as you were saying, from 10 to 100,000 or whatever it was? And I always been an advocate for step by step. And especially if you don't know how to do it, then go to the people who do know. So I contacted Rosie down there.
Give a round of applause for Rosie and the Get Ready for Business Growth. So let's get them to stand up. Actually, if Anna and Rosie and Simon here. Is Simon in the room? He's probably, Simon's at the back there.
Simon.
Yeah.
So I wasn't quite sure if our business was ready for ready to grow. And I just kind of stated our situation, and I was very, very chuffed with the fact that we were admitted to the program.
And in just a sentence or two, what did you get from that? Very, very briefly, in what way did it help you?
Oh, it's incredible. I can't explain. Everything that I thought I knew about my business in the previous 5 years, we redefined it through the program, and now have a set of actions and mentors and different things that are going to really propel us to a quite, I guess, ambitious aim for growing in the next year.
Right, fantastic. And let's go this way. Ronnie, for you, when did you reach out for the Get Ready for Business Growth program? Where were you at?
So like I mentioned earlier, we were like micro, like super, with the Aldi thing that gave me an opportunity to take a peek into big retail. And that was for me an eye-opener. And I said to myself, if I'm going to continue targeting big retail, I need to be able to prepare myself. Because honestly, that is an arena, even to this day, is scaring me a bit. So if you think about it, the Aldi contract was 100,000. That is, for Aldi, that is their normal order quantity. If you get a year's contract, not a one-time contract, you are delivering 100,000. And if you have a good rate of sale, that could be a monthly delivery. The impact on funds and the production side of that, when I was trying to compute the numbers, I was like, oh my God, that would be in the millions. Where will I find that? And that is, and for me, that was why I went and applied for the program, because I got like, how am I going to do this if now I'm heading in that direction? I'm just markets and festivals. So yeah, for me, that was where, how do I now go to the next stage? How do I do this?
And in a sentence, what did you get from the program in a
So
sentence?
like Rodrigo mentioned, now that I went through the program, because honestly, this month, this quarter is our busiest in retail. But for me, it's a big rethink on how 2026 is going to look like. How do we now change the way we do things? And what channels do we keep? What channels do we drop? It's probably helping us become more focused in what we would want to go and explore and expand.
Yeah. And Will, the same question for you. And I was just thinking in terms of the room, it's important to think when you're starting, there are going to be all of these different stages where you're in many ways redefining, re-looking at the business again. So we're constantly growing and there's new challenges. But for you, what was the moment where you applied for Get Ready for Business Growth?
Yeah, so as a kind of creative company, there's not many kind of support for creatives. So at the time, it was 2 or 3 years ago, and it was kind of pushing the creative businesses for that. So I think I was cohort 5 or 6, or as you said earlier. So quite an early kind of cohort in the journey. But yeah, for me, it was more about validating what we were doing rather than redefining too much. It was having experts that I can talk to, tell them the ideas and the plans, where we come from, where we're going, and them to say, sounds great, or maybe think of something different. But it was more that kind of just that one-to-one piece with the experts was really...
Like a sounding board.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Okay, this is my very last, very, very quick question, then we are opening up to the questions. So get ready, folks, for your questions and online. Anna, what's happening online?
Yeah,
We've got some great questions online. So could you just... to warm things up, bear in mind I'm next to the founder of Rose's Kitchen, to warm things up, can you give us one piece of advice? Because sitting out there, the whole thing can seem daunting, can seem lonely. Where do I start? All the things that you've talked about. What would be your first piece of advice to everybody who's sitting here or at home online thinking, I'm passionate, or I just can't get started, or whatever, all of those things? What would be your first piece of advice? Will, let's start off with you. First piece of advice for anyone who's wanting to start.
I would say find a mentor or someone that's done something similar and just speak to them. I've got a mentor in business now, and that's that sounding board. We talk about what the next steps are. We review everything, and then we can make a decision based on that. But early days, I think, talk to someone about your idea and get them to kind of validate it, or give you new ideas, or just kind of bounce ideas off it.
And for fun, which of these two do you want to go to next? Let's just mix it up a little bit.
We'll go straight down.
We'll just go straight down the line. Yeah, Rodrigo. One piece of advice. Start.
I guess always remember your passion, why you started, and second, scary is normal.
Yeah.
Scary is how it goes. At the beginning, at the middle, in the end, when you go to 100,000 units a day, or is it? Or it'll always have, or when you were saying, with bridging and having employees, it's always going to be there's always going to be something. But I think if you can remember your passion and why you started, I think you will get the sort of push that you need.
And just a segue to Ronnie, I often say to people that in business, for me, passion is the fuel. Passion is the fuel that's going to keep you going. If you're going somewhere, if the passion isn't there, it's going to be just so difficult because it's going to be challenging. Pick something that you're passionate about. Make sure the passion is there so you're going to get up every morning.
Exactly.
Rosie, for you, one piece of advice for anybody sat here or online or at any of the other, shout out to all the business and IP centres up and down the country screening this. Any advice for anyone?
Like Rodrigo said, you have to believe in what you're doing. I always say to myself, and being scared and being sometimes afraid, that's normal for a business person. I always say to myself when I'm feeling like that, keep your eye on the prize. What is that prize? Because that, with your passion and that objective that you want to reach, just eye on the prize. That's what I keep saying to myself.
Fantastic advice. Wonderful, wonderful. Wow, how about that? Can we give them a wonderful one? And what I love about business is you're learning every day. I'm just loving hearing you. Where shall we start? Anna, let's start online, because with that online, and then we can see the hands are going up. Yeah.
Is this working? Yes,
yeah.
Brilliant. It's magically come back on. Yeah, we've got some excellent questions coming in from the virtual room. So Chris in Glasgow, question for Ronnie, but happy for input from the panel. How did you evolve your business, and particularly sort of sales and marketing branding, as you progressed from what you were speaking about, from serving that gap, so the limited market for Filipino cuisine, to participating in a more contested market, so sources overall. Specifically, what strategies did you use, good and bad, to grow sales and attract a broader customer base? Just trying to think of a nice, yeah. And would you have any recommendations for a business looking to grow at a more widespread appeal?
Wow, that was actually quite a lot.
That's a whole business.
Yeah, that's a whole business plan. For me, I guess, trying to build the brand and saying, it's just trying to be true to what you want to do with your brand. For me, it was about heritage and culture and food. And for me, it was like doing a lot of, because I do markets and I like to talk to my consumers, to the people. And for me, that was that one-to-one contact with them, explaining. So the other thing that if you know, one of the things I wish I knew, how hard work it would be. But, you know, it's nice when you have that one-to-one conversation. And that's how I did it and I'm still doing. I just have conversations with people explaining about the cuisine. I do a lot of like in-store tastings to my stockists because that's the only time that people will start to understand. So I guess it's like that messaging of like how does this food product make your life a little bit different, you know?
And the media, and then of course you talked about a couple of TV opportunities,
Yeah.
which has been another strategy. Was that very, very deliberate, or was it just again partly by chance? Any other things
By
that?
chance.
Right.
So the Aldi, I got an email, and I thought this sounds like a scam. So since I was in Series 2, one of my friends went on Series 1. So what I did is I called her and said, like, I got this email from this person, and you were in the last series. I said, oh yeah, she's legit. Okay. Then I asked her, like, should I do it? I said, what do I need to do to prepare? You know what she said to me? You cannot prepare for this. Okay, thank you very much. So I just went ahead and like, okay, go.
So again, there's a link about you and your personality and your passion coming through that must have obviously, you know, come through on screen. Anyone else want to add anything to that? Otherwise, we'll bring in more questions because I can see there's plenty of questions in the room. Let's actually take a next question in the room unless either of you two are bursting to add. Look at that. There's a hand right at the back, very back wall there. Yeah, Simon's. And do tell us your name and what you do, and then your question, please.
Sure, thank you. I'm Fauzia Sultana Malim, founder and CEO of the BSME Services Corporation. I have the company established in California, USA. I'm in the third year of my business. I have got like 3 main areas, like a global talent contest, lead by example programs, which is E2E, like established to elevate yourself, and a Hall of Fame. So what I want to, like, I'm able to like crack like 114 countries, enter into that market, but I'm trying to see how best and effectively I can enter into the UK market, what has worked and what can be done. Because I've tried like Google ads, Meta ads, but what is effective for the UK market entry?
Also, Pussy, and could you just tell us, so what's the nature of the business? I heard the thing about the talent bit. What's the essence of the business?
So it's like lead by example. It's my EXAMPLE is my trademark framework.
If you're explaining it to any of us, imagine that we're intelligent 12-year-olds. Just explain it really simply. No, because this is so important for everyone in business. I see this all the time. To be able to explain it so simply. Imagine that we're people who know nothing about business, your friends. What is the business? Very, very simply.
So it's like build brands beyond borders with heart, answer the inner calls, and scale with soul. And the framework for this is like lead by example, establish, launch your passion, like monetize and market your passion, accelerate your passion, generate quality leads, and elevate the business development.
So is it like I'm still wanting to grasp that. Is it like leadership development, career development, personal development, or is it who are your?
It's like a new age marketplace where people can show their talent, sell their signature products and services, advertise, and all of it is like bundled under like Lead by Example programs.
Okay, so it's a platform. Is it an online platform?
Yes, bsme2e.com.
Okay, and where is it you established the business first of all?
Like I tried and tested in few markets, like during like in India and in like Dubai during the Expo 2020 and Qatar World Cup time.
Okay.
But I launched it, the global platform, in California, USA, and I'm based in California.
Okay, so again, any ideas about how to, got business that's been launched overseas, it's getting some traction, any thoughts about how to, transfer and start off over here, any thoughts?
I would say research.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, but carry on, run it, yeah.
I would say research how the UK market is behaving, because, and I think, I don't know if Department of Trade would be also of assistance, because they can help like with the imported, because this is I would assume this is import, right? You're exporting to the UK. The service. So I would say research, try to talk to like Department of Trade to see how you can enter the UK with that kind of service.
Okay.
I think.
Any other thoughts here?
Yeah, I'd definitely say get a local partner. I mean, it's very commendable that you're running a global corporation, but in order to, I guess, really get into a place, you probably will really benefit from partnering up with someone who has done who's got the roots in the sort of geographical location that you want to.
Thank you.
That you want to develop.
Yeah, and Will, any last thoughts you want to add?
Well, I was going to say, if you've got boots on the ground here, then go back to basics and network. Where is your target market? Where do they hang out? Be everywhere and make yourself known that way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we've got some hands going up. Oh, and Anna's going.
We'll circle back to online.
Yeah, let's circle back online. Then let's get the mics nearer these people. Yeah,
That's great. We've got the same question coming in from Russell in Nottingham and also James in Cambridge, who also says wonderful to see a Cambridgeshire business on the panel. And that is, does anyone have any advice for making that first hire if there are other people and staff? So I suppose sort of Will and Rodrigo. What advice can you give on the type of role you should employ first? Someone that brings in sales versus a marketer versus someone that can create the copy or an assistant. Which did you hire first?
Good question. Who wants to go for that first? Which person to get first? Yeah.
I would say, so my first hire was like a part-time designer. It was a wrong move because all of my time was spent finding this part-time person something to do. And then suddenly I was actually just could have done it myself way quicker in the first place. So it wasn't the right thing. So I'd bring someone in that can do the things you can't do. So whether it is kind of the admin-based stuff, or if you're, like me, if I was a creative, I should have been creative. Someone else doing the admin, that should have been the route to it. So always hire someone that can't do what you do, or is like your weakest point.
Yeah, and Rodrigo, did you want to add?
Yeah, exactly the same. So when you start your business, you can always do strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and think about your weaknesses. And whatever is your top 3 weaknesses, that's what you need to tackle with someone who's good at that. Don't try and then get someone in to do, I guess, what you're good at. You're good at what you do, but you're certainly, as I said before, not good at everything. So in my case, I got an amazing accountant, and that really changed how it worked, because I was really spending pretty much all of the time that I should be out there getting new clients, doing VAT reports and sending invoices and chasing invoices and doing all sorts of stuff. One hire just very quickly changed everything. And just to also say, there is a new great economy about freelancing and plug and play, and you can get help and services and loads of support without necessarily having to hire someone, just as a beginning.
Yeah.
So, I work at least with 15 different freelancers and contractors in my business, whilst you get the kind of momentum to start hiring them. But there are so many services that you could do.
And just before bringing Ronnie, thinking back to that lady's question, there are often many industry bodies in particular sectors who can be well worth, who may have insights into your particular industry, and some provide other services and so on. Anything you want to add to this question about who should be the first type of help? Because I love, in your case, it was your husband who's going to suddenly do the cooking. But any other thoughts about that?
For me, like Rodrigo, accountant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, hands up here, yeah. And then we'll go for you here. And
Thank you very much for your session today. It's really been helpful.
and just whilst you're doing that, I'm just going to bring you in. Can we just, Simon, head down this way, because I'm going to lose track. I think there's a couple of hands up this way, so we're going to get as many questions in as we can. Yeah, back over to you, my friend.
Hello. My name is Maureen. I am a psychotherapist. I've been a psychotherapist for 27 years, but I've now transitioned to an emotional wellness coach, where I help people to release the emotional blocks for business success. So we're helping them to not just deal with the strategy, funnels, Canva, and all those type of things, and marketing, but how to deal with the emotional blocks that are preventing business success. So I'm wondering how you individually have dealt with those root type of issues within your own situations for business success. You actually shared about not doing things by yourself, not being alone, and to do it scared. You know, these type of things is what I work with as an emotional wellness coach.
Really great question there, and I love the way it's a really lovely, subtle pitch for people to go and talk to you. No, I mean that. No, but I mean that in a really good way, because it begins that conversation. It can have a cue, because it is very important. This emotion is something very dear to my heart also. Anyone got any thoughts about this? How do you manage the emotional roller coaster and all of that kind of stuff, both when things aren't going well, or how am I going to suddenly cook 100,000 dishes or what have you? Who wants to kick off? Actually, stop this end. Will, any thoughts about that, the emotional and the psychological side of stresses of business?
Yeah, I mean, I just tell myself, don't take it personally. It's not an attack on you. It's just business at the end of the day. And kind of what's the worst what's the worst that can happen if it all goes wrong? I mean, there's lots that can happen, but what is the worst? As long as you're still healthy and breathing, then fine, you can do something else. So I don't really get too emotionally kind of caught up within business. I find it quite easy to box things off in my head and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, powerful. Rodrigo, what do you do?
I think it's an excellent thing what you are doing. I think it's not just, I guess, us, like pretty much everyone in the room, going solo or starting something will have a really essential emotional connection with the business that we're trying to get off the ground. So realizing what you said is very important. There is obviously a moment where it's good that you have an emotional connection, very positive, but that also has a very it's also could be a double-edged sword. Could bring you a lot of anxiety or other emotions that you need to understand, that you need to also know that they are alarms, and thinking, like Will just said, what is the worst that can happen, or how would you deal with these emotions is very important. I've been through a journey myself. Pretty much everyone has, where you get, there's going to be a few sleepless nights. But realizing the emotional dimension of what you do and how to control it is incredibly important. Yeah.
And Ronnie. Oh no! I'm going to just take the end. Let me just take this and then yeah.
For me, mine is a little bit more roller coaster. I will step back I would let go. Most of the time, funny for me personally, what clears my head is when I drive. So I would drive. I'll take a drive. It helps me clear my head. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to live in Saray, so there's a lot of like country roads that I can drive to just to see green, just to refresh my mind. For me, that's what I would.
And let's continue the conversation over lunchtime and do chat tomorrow. Now, just a quick one for me. I think for me, this is so important. I think developing a good peer network, connecting with other people, including at lunchtime, other people on the journey of you, other people in your industry, other people who also know what it's like running your own business, making sure you've got that own personal support, taking care of your own emotional self-care. And a quick tip for me, you've got to be your own ally, ambassador, beloved, best friend. Ally on your own side, not beating yourself up. Ambassador, putting yourself forward because you've got to at early stages. Beloved, the self-care, loving who you are and showing up with love. And best friend, because sometimes it can be lonely. I think you've got to be all of those things as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
I think more hands are going up. I'm hoping that my friends on the mics are keeping track. Yeah, I think this gentleman, yeah.
Thank you. My name's Tony. I'm transitioning from charity sector, so I'm currently Chief Executive of a charity. I've been Chief Executive, this is my second term as Chief Executive of a charity. So moving
Congratulations.
Thank you. So moving into business feels somewhat familiar, but very different because it's a very different mindset in terms of trying to make a profit. But my business, it's called Hello Theo. How do I just...
And your question, I'm loving it, but just your question, just only in terms of time.
Yeah,
what
so
would you like?
basically where I am with the business, we're at pre-seed. So my question to the panel, and you mentioned it, Ronnie, I think, about, you didn't realise all the different series A, Series B. So my question is, what's your advice when you're going for funding? So I'm at pre-seed, I'm ready to go. I'm just getting my SEIS approval this week, I hope. So I'm ready to go out to investors. So what's your advice for that? And also, I guess, if you've gone to next stage, how soon ahead of when you need the funding are you actually speaking to investors to make sure that you've got the money in the bank to actually keep your business going?
Well, I haven't done any funding rounds yet, but for me, just to learn about these things, I research. I ask people that I know around the industry, find someone like a financial consultant that would help you put together your pitch deck. Try to find anything that's available out there, like sample pitch decks. Virgins, they have like their videos of like people doing pitches on investment. And then you research all of like your angel investors, your VCs, and all that. But pre-seed, mostly VCs, I think, would be those ones.
And on that, we run the British Library run, the one the partners run, some really good ones on funding. So if you look up Paul Grant, The Funding Game, he runs some workshops, brilliant workshops about understanding the different types of funders, how to put together a pitch deck, et cetera, et cetera. Any last thoughts about this, about funding?
Use AI as a research tool for that kind of thing. See what other companies have done the same thing in your field, and just stick what you're doing in AI, and it will come back with a lot of information.
Fantastic. Excellent. And more hands going up, and I'm losing track. I'm hoping my friends on the mics are keeping track. He's got his hands up nice and high. Let's one here, one mic down here, and then this gentleman here has got his hand up, and then we'll take one online as well.
Thank you. My name is Livingston from MLB Learning Solutions. Thanks very much for the advice given by the panel thus far. Excellent, insightful advice. I'm going to switch it slightly. Can I ask the question to all three of you? What advice would you give to us in regards to what not to do in business?
Yeah, what not to do, folks. Who wants to start off? Rodrigo, what not to do?
It's a great question. I think I personally am an advocate for step by step. So I would say don't get super ahead of yourself. Learn that it's a process. But I do think maybe, yeah, what not to do is to try and be flying when you haven't even ran.
Great advice.
You have to walk, run, and then take off. So don't expect to be flying when you haven't even.
Yeah, great advice. Which way do you want to go for this, to pass it on? This way or that way? Yeah, what not to do?
I'm going to be really controversial and
Okay.
go against what you've said. I think if you sit on things for too long, the opportunities could go, or your momentum could go as well. So if you see an opportunity and you wait a few months, and then someone else has got that opportunity, then you're back to scratch again. So yeah, you need the right steps and the processes, but the quicker you do things, the more you get out there, the more feedback you get, and then you can refine it and rebuild it. But if you do nothing, that's the worst thing, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the answer. Don't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Ronnie?
I guess don't do everything as well.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that you will find out is that you will get contacted by a lot of people. So I guess don't say yes to everything. Find out who they are. Some cannot be trusted. Yeah? A lot of them just want to keep selling to you, not actually helping you. So,
Yeah. I'd like to throw in, don't ignore your instincts. Don't beat yourself up. I meet so many, so much of the differential is where, are you on your own side or are you beating yourself up? I meet so many entrepreneurs, you've got to be on your own side. It's going to be tough. It's going to be lonely. You've got to be on your own side. Don't beat yourself up. This gentleman's very persistent and he's going to do well because that's important in business. Hand up.
My name's Ashley. I'm the founder of The Gift of Help. My mission
Good name.
Well, my mission is to get us all to be more courageous, clear, and confident at asking for help. Comes from my own personal experience where I've fiercely rejected it, and a journey through cancer has given me the wake-up call. Question for all three of the panel. If you're happy to be a bit more open and vulnerable about this, your entrepreneur journey, I imagine, it's been a roller coaster. You've had challenges, you've had pitfalls, you've hit rock bottom. If you're happy to do so, could you share an example of where you went through that? And then how did you navigate through it? And I'm mostly curious about, did you ask for help? How did that feel? And what did that look like?
Who wants to kick off with this thing? I meant whether you did ask for help or whether you should have asked for help. Ronnie?
Yeah, for me, find your support, whether it's friend, your mentor, because I also have a mentor, someone who will be your sounding board, because a lot of it will cost you a lot of stress, and you need to release that stress. So I guess it's just finding that person who is willing to listen to you, and that is what I do. I mean, I talk to my friends, and I always say, not all my friends will understand me, but my friends who are also business owners are the ones who will understand me. Yeah. Find the person in your tribe that is going through the same thing as you.
Just as we move over there, have you and Maureen spoken? I love doing this. Have you had a chat? You must. Today, network amongst each other. Chat at lunch, non-stop. Who's going next? Yeah, help.
Yeah, what you're doing is also great. I have to say, I mean, we've been trading for many years, but I did get to the point where I needed to ask for help, and I didn't because I didn't know who to turn to, and it just almost almost finished my business. I was just really it's impacting my health. So of course I would definitely, and that's why I think I mentioned it before. Always ask for help. Always know when, and you couldn't put it better. You have to be your ally, not your not your critic or your hangman. That's it.
So similar, in a position where kind of the cash flow wasn't aligned and payroll kind of fell in the middle of that. So there's kind of a cloud over my head for weeks about how do I even pay the staff I've got. But I asked for help. I asked a kind of family friend and a mentor about what to do, and they kind of lent me the money for the 2 weeks to get through payroll. But as soon as they kind of said that, you know, it just kind of clears your head immediately, and you can then focus on actually the business. But if you don't speak about it, it can really drag you down, and it just cycle into lots of other things. But yeah, it's definitely good to voice
Wonderful. We'll try and get a few more questions in the room. There's a hand up there, but we've got our last question online. We must make them feel loved. Let's give the people online again another cheer, shout outs. Yeah.
Coming in from Sussex, from Worthing Library. Balancing risk versus opportunity.
Yeah, I guess you've been venturing. It's this. Ronnie, you were smiling there, so do you want to... Yeah, any thoughts about that, the balance between risk and opportunity?
I think that I'm a risk taker, you see. But there is no magic formula to it. I go by feel. You know, how do I feel about doing this? And then after I do that, I ask myself the question, when this goes wrong, how are you going to deal with this? So that's how I do my risk and assessment. But I go by instinct. How does this feel?
Yeah, I identify that well.
I think they're two different things, risk and opportunity. I think an opportunity is something that aligns with your company and your vision and your kind of strategy, and that's an opportunity to go for. A risk is something that could cause kind of disruption, and the paybacks aren't the same as the opportunity. So I think they're two different things, and I think you have to kind of weigh up the differences between what the opportunity and the risk is, and then work out whether it actually aligns with you and your company and your culture.
Well, I work in a sector that is incredibly risk averse, but at the same time, opportunities, I think there's a really good connection between opportunities, risk, and being creative. And I think that's what separates, I guess, people in this room, is we can come up with creative ways to bring down that risk, or to manage it, or to work with it, or to be able to handle it in the light of an opportunity. Hopefully.
Wonderful. We can take our last few questions in the room. Just a quick shout out on all of these questions. Remember, please use this as an opportunity today. There are a number of the British Library Business and IP Centre partners who run lots of workshops that can help you. The Business and IP Centre desk can help you. Looking on the website, there's such a rich set of workshops, talks, one-to-one on everything from your intellectual property, which we've got a session about that this afternoon, marketing, you mention it, pretty much everything. So see today as a starting point. Yeah, please.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Kwelumi Nubi. Last year, I became the first woman to solo drive from London to Lagos, and that was incredible. Thank you so much, everyone. Off the back of that, the car that I used, it was a small purple car, was housed in a museum in Lagos, Nigeria. And I saw a market that we don't have children character. If we're talking Peppa Pig, Bluey, that is Afrocentric and just going on big adventures and has that representation. So I'm kicking that off, and we started with a plush toy and a children's book for this December gifting period. My biggest question is, how do you have a brand that is so reliant on one person's story? Is that a risky move? How do investors react to that? With just the culture of cancel culture and things like that, something so centered on my own personal journey, is there anything I can be proactive about just to protect that brand?
Okay, anyone want to take that question? Because I think there's a number of different things, like the protection of the brand. There's going to be a session after lunch, about protecting your IP. But then there's that thing about between your personal, how much do you invest of your personal self in the brand? Anyone want to pick up on that question? Did you want to?
I'll answer.
Yeah.
To put your personality to the brand is what makes it your brand. So keep that, because that would now align to your entire story. Remember, a brand is not your logo. Your brand is what it represents. And and you're creating your brand because it's based on your story and your journey. Use that. Use that in your marketing. Use that in everything that you would do for your project. Now, and also because it's so personal, I would say register your brand.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this?
Well, there's incredible help just outside about IP, and I think the best thing that you've got is that story, like that you're going to take people on a journey, and you know.
And you did that so powerfully well there. You know that the power of that will draw people in, especially early on. One very last question. Oh gosh, I don't know who had their hand up first. The people with the mics, I'm going to rely on you of knowing who's had their hand up longest.
There's some really wavy people.
Oh, wavy. Oh, the really wavy person. Yeah. And please, are you going to be around over lunch?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so do find
around,
Thank you very much. My name's Pete. I've got a question specifically for Ronnie, based on some of the things you said. What mistakes did you make in Amazon? And how did you get the pricing wrong? And then what did you do to make the pricing right?
So, okay, so when I started doing Amazon, I didn't know that, I knew that they had the monthly fees, but I didn't know that with that, there's the seller fees, the fulfillment fees. They have about 5 or 7 fees on top of your monthly fees. So I priced my product like how I would price it in the market when I sell straight to consumer. So I thought like, oh yay, I got sales, right? The end of the month, they go like, why am I negative? So what did I do? I raised my prices. And remember, in Amazon, because if you want to sell in Amazon and you're a product base, always do it on FBA if you don't want to deal with the logistics of sending your products in
FBA
boxes.
for people who don't know what that.
Fulfillment by Amazon.
Okay.
So you send your products to the Amazon warehouse. They deal with everything. With that, you include what you would normally charge if you were fulfilling it yourself. So if you're shipping it yourselves. So I basically, example, when I was doing it wrong, I was pricing it at £5. But with all of the fees of Amazon and making sure that the fulfillment is done by them, that £5 is now £10.
Wonderful. We're almost out of time. I want to just end it with offering. I would like to invite you to share one word that you want to offer, or one sentence, absolute maximum, for everyone here. Will, one word or one sentence by way of advice for anyone here who's thinking about at the early stages of starting their business?
I guess the bit of advice would be just be all in. It's, being a founder and having a business is all consuming, so it's gonna consume you every second of your day. But to get used to that, don't expect to have lots of free time around having a business. It will completely consume you.
Rodrigo, one word or one sentence?
Proud. Be very proud of what you're doing, because we, I tend to say, are more courageous and different from other people. So be proud of what you're doing.
Wonderful. And Ronnie?
I'll give you 2 words: persistence and perseverance.
And those.
Can you join together and thank my wonderful panel, Will, Rodrigo, and Ronnie? Thank you so much. And thanks so much to all of the team. And thank yourselves, and thanks everyone for the questions. Anna.
Thank you, Rashid. Absolutely excellent. Thank you all so much. We just one more round of applause as they go off. It would be remiss of me as the project manager of Get Ready for Business Growth not to say at this point that we are open for applications if you are interested in the support they received. All of the details of how to do that are on the British Library website, as are the criteria for the programme. If you go and take a look at that criteria and think, oh, I'm not quite there yet, that's fine, because that is the final stage of our support at the library, and we have lots of other support to get you up to that stage. We appreciate that this is Startup Day. You should also check out our Kickstart programme, which will be available to book if you're based in London, which will give you a toolkit for starting up, all of those things you need to know to get things off the ground. And then sort of for that midpoint of growth, our masterclasses will also be available to book online. That's some of what Rashid was talking about, the funding game from Paul Grant and things like that.
And it's given that it's Global Entrepreneurship Week, wouldn't it be great if we had the founder or co-founder of Global Entrepreneurship Week in the room to give us a wrap-up and to inspire us?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be amazing if Mark
as
Altmans were in the room?
As it happens.
He is in the room.
Ladies and
Can we
gentlemen,
give him a round of applause?
Mark Altmans.
Well, it's not even morning, is it? It's afternoon now. It was a long day for me. We started today at the London Stock Exchange, and we launched the market, which was something that's interesting because it's not a bell like you see on those pictures of New York. So, make a job, don't take a job. That was the inspiration of this man, Gordon Brown. And Gordon Brown believed in, or was aspiring to give more young people greater opportunity to succeed in life, regardless of their background and where they came from. And so believed that entrepreneurship was the key here because it's a meritocracy. And actually, I'm just going to ask this point, how many people in this room have started or are thinking of starting a business? Wow, that's incredible. That's got to be like 90-something%. So I think you should give yourself a round of applause. And as was just said, I think you should be proud because you are, as Alpesh Patel, who's one of the ministers for DBT, Department of Business and Trade, said this morning, you are the warriors of the economy. So while we may not be at war, currently today, you are fighting the war to build the economy. So you should be proud. So Gordon had this dream and set something in motion and really believed in providing entrepreneurship as an opportunity for everyone. And if you go back to when we started this 18 years ago, so it's a coming of age day today for Global Entrepreneurship Week, back in 2008, everything was siloed. And now we've got a much different situation. I mean, in fact, the word entrepreneurship was hardly used, if you can believe it, just 18 years ago. In fact, you know, there was a certain American president who thought it was just a French word and we shouldn't use it. But so, in fact, it was launched by the British government and with Gordon Brown and the Kauffman Foundation out of the US. And together, working together, have taken it to new levels. So now we have Global Entrepreneurship Week that started in 2008 and is celebrated absolutely everywhere. Global Entrepreneurship Network, well, what's the difference? Well, Global Entrepreneurship Network came about because people were so enamored with the week brand, talking about brands earlier, they were using it for the other 51 weeks of the year. And so that was getting to be a bit of a problem, and we were starting to provide all sorts of other things. So we retrofitted a parent, as they say in branding land. And this is what the parents' children look like, the family. So a whole range of things, including fantastic programs like Start-up Huddle, which the British Library's been an incredible champion of. Have we got any of the Start-up Huddle Oxford people in the room yet? I know they're coming, so we were at a breakfast this morning. Probably still having breakfast. But it's grown. And we also have a congress every year, so we bring people together for a kind of Davos of entrepreneurship and bring ministers together to share and collaborate, which is a wonderful thing in this sort of friction-full world in politics. People leave their politics at the door and just get on with making entrepreneurship great. And you're very welcome if any of you want to come and join us on the next one, which has not been announced yet, and I haven't got the details, so I can't even leak it, but it will be sometime in June of next year. So this year, our theme is Together We Build. And I really like this because this speaks to one of the things that all entrepreneurs face which is it's a pretty lonely situation being an entrepreneur. A lot of people don't understand why you're so passionate about what you want to do, why you seem to be obsessed with what you're doing, why you're making life hard for yourself and your families and everybody else. So it's about collaboration, it's about teams, it's about connecting communities, it's about working together to achieve something greater than yourself. And if you talk to any of the successful entrepreneurs who've been doing it for a little bit in this room, and indeed some of you just started, you know that your success has come about because you're not doing it by yourself. You're not walking alone, as they say in Liverpool. Never walk alone. So that's our theme this year, so you'll see that everywhere. So apart from here in this room, and as I said earlier, we launched at the London Stock Exchange, which was kind of fun. They do ticker tape and videos and no bells, which was interesting. And we're in 200 countries, so there are literally thousands of events going on. And if you go, as I'll give you a URL in a minute, but you can find events in any of those 200 countries through one website. And some of those will be online, so you'll be able to dip into those as well. So you can find those events. If you type in gw.co, that will take you to the Gen Global website, which has got a lot more. And you can sign up and be part of that. It's all free. Join the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands who've done that, and get involved. There are things happening all throughout the week. And just a quick example is tomorrow I'm going to be at an event at Marlborough House, which is the home of the Commonwealth Secretariat, and we're doing a round table around entrepreneurship there. But at the same time, up in Hull, anybody from Hull today? No? Well, great. Hello, online people. Because Hull has been one of the biggest champions as a city of entrepreneurship during Global Entrepreneurship Week. And so they're organising a Zoom session for young entrepreneurs from across the Commonwealth out of Hull. So we're going to make sure we make some noise about that at the Commonwealth Secretariat for all the great and good who will be there. But so please enjoy the week. I'll be around for the rest of the day, so if you want to come and talk to me, I'm very approachable. And do sign up at Gen Global, and do also find events that, if you haven't found them yet, to keep yourself busy, and if you want to procrastinate from doing your day job, go off and get inspired at somebody else's session. Thank you very much.
So, it's been quite a morning, hasn't it, Anna? It's been, and I'm feeling slightly savoury at the moment, because I think there's going to be food soon, right? I know, it's a bad joke.
Just enough of the room knowing my name for that to be agonising.
So how are you all feeling? Good? We're not far away from lunch, and there's loads going on during lunch.
There's so much. I'm almost overwhelmed with the amount of things I've been told to definitely mention. So I think one thing to say is that there are tickets still available for Joe Wicks this evening, our session in the evening. You can buy those on Eventbrite just in the normal way. That QR code is on your lanyard if you would like to impulse buy a ticket to tonight. But there's still a lot to come before then. If you haven't been on a BIPC tour, you can go and book yourself onto a tour. You can get a free headshot, since so many of you are in business. You can go and get a free headshot from our photographer Sam Lane over in the Elliott room, so that's just across the foyer, and then turn right. Also, the majority of lunch is being served in the Elliott room. That will be a quieter place to get lunch. I think
that's much of it. I mean, we need to say a very big thanks to Mark. Absolutely. And so busy day. Where's dinner this evening? Well, I was just wondering, the morning stock exchange.
Mark will be loading up on the lunch buffet.
Exactly. Just want to say a big thanks to all of our morning speakers, if we can give them all a round of applause again. And we've got this discount on our store, a 15% discount with your lanyards, isn't it? If you
Absolutely, yep. Just go and wave this at them. That's 15% off on, I think, on both our shops, on the bookshop and the gift shop. Hope I'm not remiss in saying that. So yeah, great time to start the Christmas shop.
And the doorbell of dreams is carrying on during lunch. So
Absolutely.
if you have got an idea that you're wanting to pitch, find the doorbell of dreams, which is again one of the side rooms, and you've got a minute to pitch.
Yeah, 1 minute of your business idea down into a Ring doorbell. Get that before sort of Richard Branson, Simon Squibb, all those good types.
Yeah, but definitely do check out the tours. Enjoy lunch. We'll see you back here at 2.
See you at 2.
Thank you.